Laning basics. These are concepts that apply to both solo offlaner and dual offlane scenarios that I will go over first. I will assume very limited Dota knowledge, so feel free to skip over parts of the pulling discussion if you already know how to pull properly. Okay, let's start with pulling creeps. There's single pull, double pull, side pull, all slightly different things with slightly different timings. But if we talk about pulling in general first, the point of pulling is that it involves forcing your lane creeps to attack the neutral creeps on the map, like you can see here. This is done to A, farm the golden XP of the neutrals without having to take any damage on your hero. B, deny XP from enemies by having the neutrals killing the creeps instead of the enemies. C, shifting creep equilibrium back towards your tower. Creep equilibrium refers to the position on the lane where both teams' creeps are meeting. Ideally, you want it close to your own tower without your own tower hitting them. This gives you enough space to be able to posture aggressively between the off-lane player and the creep wave, zoning him out of experience range. I will show you a demonstration of that posturing now. If you see here, the creeps are close to our own tower, and there is this big space between the offlane tower, enemy offlane tower, and where the creeps are meeting. This enables me to stand in this spot I just circled on the mini-map, and I can attack the enemy heroes without being attacked by the enemy creeps, and they basically have to walk through me to get into experience range. When the new creeps come, I can back off and then I can loop round. You do this thing where you come in from the side so you don't have to walk through the creep wave, and you can start zoning again. These are clearly just bots, but this is the principle of you are basically a bodyguard of keeping people away from XP range. The timing for pulling the small creep camp is at either 15 seconds or 45 seconds past a minute. You just attack it and walk back into lane. Usually one wave of lane creeps will kill a full small camp with only one of them dying. With 3 left alive, this means you end up with a double wave that actually ends up pushing creep equilibrium closer into the enemy tower, not back towards your own. There are 2 ways you can deal with this. One is to stack the small camp before pulling it. Stacking camps involves attacking them at just before 55 seconds and walking away, like in this demonstration. Just walk away. This causes new creeps to spawn in the camp whilst the old ones are following you, so you now have double the creeps there. Obviously, when you now pull this at 15 seconds, because you've got double the neutral creeps, they can actually kill the full wave on their own. This is the less common strategy for killing the whole wave, but it is sometimes useful if you're close enough to the small camp to stack it. As you can see here, our creeps are dying quite quickly, and the neutrals will kill them all off. The other method for making sure all your lane creeps die is to do a double pull, or what is sometimes called a chain pull, where after pulling the small camp, when the small camp is nearly dead, you walk over to the hard camp next to it, and you do the same thing again. You just aggro the large camp, bring them to your lane creeps, and if you time it right, your lane creeps will follow them. There's no set time specifically that you have to aggro the large camp, because it depends on numerous factors like what small camp you get, what the speed of the creeps are. You have a little bit of leeway because if you pull too early, you can just attack and kill the rest of the small camp quicker. If you pull too soon, you can just not attack any of the small camp. So you have quite a large window. Typically, what I tend to do is roughly when there's just over one creep left. So when there's one full health small creep camp and one low health one, that's when I will attack the large camp. If it is the kobold camp where there's 5 little ones, I usually just add on an extra creep there, and you wait until there's 2 full health creeps and a low health one. And I almost never miss a double pull using that kind of rough calculation. Another neat trick shown here is the side pull. You can actually side pull these large camps into the lane if you attack them at 57 seconds. You can do it on Radiant or Dire, but the timing is quite tight and you can often fail it. Also, the lane has to be very pushed because if the lane's not right underneath their tower, the enemy creeps, your creeps will aggro onto the large creeps, but the enemy creeps will arrive in time so that your creeps then ignore the large creeps and go back to the lane. I'll show you an example of it failing or nearly working, because it doesn't always work and it is quite hard to pull off. You see here, I do it at 57, it seems fine. You do this sort of little shimmy where you sort of wait, you sort of block creeps a little bit, but here I only caught the range creep, which is unfortunate. What is nice is that you can always try the side pull, and then if it fails, it doesn't matter too much. You still have time to walk back to the small camp and you can just do a regular double pull.